All praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, almighty creator power of eternity, infinity, the universe, the stars, the earth, the oceans, the mountains, the valleys, the seas, the clouds, all creeping things, humanity, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Hello, family. I am back again before you, most humbly, in honor, privilege, and pleasure to make presentation to our nation so we can get this heavenly and cosmic information in our cranial station. And to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, wherever you may sojourn, my continuous petition in prayer for your care and safety. And to my brothers and sisters of the world, the pending Israelites, those who refer to themselves as the melanated and Moors, the original man and children of God, the copper-colored, the people of color, the aboriginals and indigenous, the natives, Negroes and niggas, the African Americans and blacks, the descendants of slaves, and those conquered and colonized. Oh yes, family, we are here again in our consensual assembly at the Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit den, where the fire crackles and the cocoa is chocolatey and sweet and the tea is ready to be poured and sipped. And we have brownies and donuts, and we have softness, and we have love, and we have compassion and care and coordinated concentration, so that we may contemplate and ponder as we dwell in this carnal container, but carry the eternal existence of the almighty, precious, holy creator spirit. All praises. And we are continuing in our series, Them, the Jewish People. And this is part 10, where we have examined the history, the geography, the transformation and translation of the so-called Jewish people, the Edomite, Amalekite, Ashkenazi, Roman, Khazarian, Jewish people, and the study of the Talmudic text from the Babylonian and Jerusalem eras. So we are getting a grand view of the people, or the elite, the ministers of this nation, and how they are in control of the central banking and the religious disseminations of their nations to all nations, and how the organizations of the Anti-Defamation League and the CFR, as well as many other covert institutions, are actually in control of our nations, the directions, the monetary systems, the educational and corporate systems. So we are moving back the wicked deceptions of the educations that we were formalized in this continent of confusion of our captivity. And we will continue to review the people that walk amongst us who call themselves the chosen, but we are beginning to know, or already know, the truth. And so we shall begin at the Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit standards in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Followed by our second eternal standard in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 8, in reference to the holy anointed Messiah, the wonderful, the Redeemer, the Savior, the King of Israel, whom the world refers to as Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. All right, family. So today we will begin our examination on the world famous man, Adolf Hitler. We will be hitting some of the key timelines of his life and his accomplishments and his upbringing and his ideology and how he became the instrumental component amongst the Ashkenazi Jewish conspirators to precipitate the discomfort and the persecution of the Jewish people within the German nation and their spheres of influence to commit the final solution, which was actually to get them translated and transported into the nation or the colony of Israel, founded by Rothschild family members and money. And we begin. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20, 1889 in Upper Austrian border town of Braunau am Inn. He was baptized a Catholic. His father, Alois Hitler, was a mid-level customs official. Born out of wedlock to Maria Anna Schitzogruber in 1837. Alois Schitzogruber had changed his name in 1876 to Hitler, a Christian name of the man who married his mother 5 years after his birth. Alois Hitler's illegitimacy was cause of speculation as early as the 1920s and still present in popular culture today, that Hitler's grandfather was Jewish. Credible evidence to support the notion of Hitler's Jewish descent has never turned up. The two most likely candidates to have been Hitler's grandfather are the man who married his grandmother and that man's brother. Hitler lived in Vienna between February 1908 and May 1913. By the end of 1909, Hitler knew real poverty and his sources of income dried up. That winter, however, he helped briefly by a last gift from his aunt. He was helped briefly by a last gift from his aunt. He began to paint watercolor scenes of Vienna for a business partner. He made enough to live on until he left Munich in 1913. It is likely that Hitler experienced and possibly also shared the general anti-Semitism common among middle-class German nationalists. Nevertheless, he had personal and business relationships with Jews in Vienna. He was also at times dependent in part on Jews for his living. While this may have been a cause for discretion about his actual feelings about Jews, it was not until after World War I that Hitler can be demonstrated to have adopted an anti-Semitic ideology. An American general named Albert Pike, who had been enticed into the Illuminati by Giuseppe Mazzini, completes his military blueprint for 3 world wars and various revolutions throughout the world, culminating in moving this great conspiracy into its final stage. The First World War is to be fought for the purpose of destroying the Tsar in Russia, as promised by Nathan Mayer Rothschild in 1815. The Tsar is to be replaced with communism, which is to be used to attack religions, predominantly Christianity. The differences between the British and German empires are to be used to foment this war. The Second World War is to be used as a linchpin in bringing hatred against the German people. The controversy between fascism and political Zionism with the slaughter of Jews in Germany. This is designed to destroy fascism, which the Rothschilds created, and increase the power of political Zionism. This war is also designed to increase the power of communism to the level that it equaled that of United Christendom. Theodore Herzl, who would state in his diaries, "It is essential that the sufferings of Jews become worse. This will assist in the realization of our plans. I have an excellent idea. I shall induce anti-Semitism to liquidate Jewish wealth. The anti-Semites will assist us thereby in that they will strengthen the persecution and oppression of Jews. The anti-Semites shall be our best friends." Hitler was genuinely influenced in Vienna by two political movements. The first was the German racist nationalism propagated by the Upper Austrian pan-German politician George von Schorner. The second key influence was that of Karl Lueger, mayor of Vienna, from 1897 to his death in 1910. Lueger was still in power when Hitler arrived in Vienna. Lueger promoted an anti-Semitism that was more practical and organizational than ideological. Nevertheless, it reinforced anti-Jewish stereotypes and casts Jews as enemies of the German middle and lower classes. Hitler drew his ideology in large part from Schorner, but his strategy and tactics from Lueger. Hitler moved to Munich, Germany in May 1913. He did so to avoid arrest for evading military service obligation to Habsburg, Austria. In Munich, he continued to drift. He supported himself on his watercolors and sketches until the outbreak of World War I. Gave his life direction and a cause to which he would commit himself totally. The outbreak of World War I gave his life direction and a cause to which he could commit himself totally. 1913, Hitler moves to Munich, Germany in May, and in the following year he enlists in the German army to fight in World War I. 1918, Hitler is partially blinded in a mustard gas attack near Ypres in Belgium. News of the November 11, 1918 armistice reaches him as he is convalescing in a military hospital. World War I has a profound impact on Hitler and many other Germans. The impact of the conflict and its divisive peace has repercussions for decades to come, giving rise to a Second World War and a genocide committed under its cover. November 8 and 9, 1923. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party lead a coalition group in an attempt to overthrow the government of Bavaria and initiate a national revolution. This so-called Beer Hall Putsch fails. Hitler and others are arrested for treason. 1923 through 25, Hitler is convicted of high treason and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. Although he serves only 1 year, while in prison he writes Mein Kampf, My Struggle. This infamous memoir proves significant in promoting key components of Nazism and its racial ideology. Published in 2 volumes in 1925 and 1926, it would sell 1 million copies in 1933, Hitler's first year in office. 1925, Hitler establishes the SS, the Schutzstaffel, protection squadrons. On April 4, 1925, during the Nazi regime, the SS will become responsible not only for the German police force and the concentration camp system, but also for security, identification of ethnicity, settlement and population policy, and intelligence. Theodore Herzl, who would state in his diaries, "It is essential that the sufferings of Jews become worse. This will assist in the realization of our plans. I have an excellent idea. I shall induce anti-Semitism to liquidate Jewish wealth. The anti-Semites will assist us thereby in that they will strengthen the persecution and oppression of Jews. The anti-Semites shall be our best friends." April 10, 1932, Hitler loses a runoff election for the German presidency to the elderly incumbent General Paul von Hindenburg. January 1933, the Nazi Party comes to power with the appointment of Adolf Hitler as Chancellor. March 23, 1933, following the burning of the German Parliament building, the Reichstag, by unknown arsonists, the German Parliament passes the law for rectification of the distress of nation and Reich, commonly known as the Enabling Act. This law allows Hitler as Chancellor to initiate and sign legislation into law without obtaining parliamentary consent. The act effectively establishes a dictatorship under Hitler in Germany. Theodore Herzl, who would state in his diaries, "It is essential that the sufferings of Jews become worse. This will assist in the realization of our plans. I have an excellent idea. I shall induce anti-Semitism to liquidate Jewish wealth. The anti-Semites will assist us thereby in that they will strengthen the persecution and oppression of Jews. The anti-Semites shall be our best friends." An American general named Albert Pike, who had been enticed into the Illuminati by Giuseppe Mazzini, completes his military blueprint for 3 world wars and various revolutions throughout the world, culminating into moving this great conspiracy into its final stage. Albert Pike was the most powerful Freemason in America. Albert Pike published a book on the subject in 1872 entitled Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, in which he candidly states the following: "Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerable, blinds feeble, sensuals, or selfish souls? Doubt it not. in his blueprints, he states, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a great social cataclysm in which all its horror will show clearly to all the nations the effect of absolute atheism, the origins of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the people will be forced to defend themselves against the world minority of the world revolutionaries and will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. And the multitudes disillusioned with Christianity, whose spirits will be from that moment without direction and leadership, and anxious for an ideal, but without knowledge where to send its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into public view. The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verses 3 through 12. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he is God, sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember you not that when I was with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholds, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now lets will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And family, there it is. So we have a scope in our review of the grand conspiracy as outlined in 1871 by Albert Pike, as well as fortified by Theodor Herzl, the Ashkenazi Jewish Zionist, who put in a plan to induce the anti-Semites to create the era of persecution and detriment to the Jewish people of the nation of Germany and its surrounding spheres of influence in the other nations. And we see the escalation of Adolf Hitler into the chancellor role so he can begin the formal institution of this wicked satanic conspiracy as set forth by the Jewish people against their own people. And so we will continue looking at the pinpoints of the timeline of Adolf Hitler, as well as the Jewish people within this now context of the persecution leading up to the so-called Holocaust that's already been designed and outlined by the SS police and the concentration camp system. And we have yet to get to World War II. So the ground has been laid for this conspiracy against the Jewish people, by the Jewish people, against the Jewish people, that we call World War II and the Holocaust. So as we continue, we are now looking behind the veil and the curtain of wickedness of world events and political maneuvering and the fundings of various revolutions and wars, as we understand how this international banking system, the Anti-Defamation League, and the Council on Foreign Relations are all interlocked and intermingled to lay out and make this plan invisible and comfortable for this so-called New World Order, Novus Ordo Seclorum, or the Age of Aquarius, the bringing in to the world view the Luciferian doctrine and way of life. Lord willing, I shall return so that we can continue to wipe away the smoke of darkness and ignorance from our eyes and nostrils as we continue to straighten ourselves on the path of righteousness, to be right and ready for the return of our King, Holy Messiah, the Redeemer and the Savior, the King of Israel, whom the world refers to as Jesus Christ. And family, until we are together again, this is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit, Part 10, of the series of Them, the Jewish People. I love you. I love you, family. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.